They sent a private investigator to follow me. I was fired. And next thing you know, I was unemployed.
Welcome back to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. We help people create themselves rather than find themselves. And the only requirements are the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. And we're going to continue our conversation with Shane, our pro wrestler, pro fighter, and pro trainer, and also a faith-based individual. Stay tuned.
The only difference between you and I is the color of our uniform. And they respected me for that so much. And I treated them like human beings, not like animals. But it was a shame, but the guys that were supposed to be on my side, those were the ones that I had to watch out for.
What we try to help people do in their lives, when we talked about our intro, Shane, we talked about helping people create their lives rather than find themselves. And what we're hoping to help people to do is to help people create a life that they don't need a vacation from.
Oh, I'm living that life right now.
Say more about that.
I've created a life that I never want to wake up from. Mondays are not Mondays. Every day continues and goes on, and I get to live my life helping other people now. I get to live my best life doing what I bet on myself. I'm still a professional wrestler. I'm still a professional fighter. I just turned 40 years old when I quit at 30. I quit being a professional athlete, and here I am 10 years later, still living that dream, at the same time simultaneously being a coach to so many people in the city, in person, and so many people around the world online.
So not only as a professional wrestler, I don't know how much of a bills that pays, but however, this professional trainer, tell us about getting into that gig, Shane.
Well, that's a funny story. I was fired from the jail for a year, and I had no money coming in.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do. And this was at the expense of some of my coworkers. They found out I was a professional wrestler. I took a sick day to take a gig in a different city. They sent a private investigator to follow me. I was fired. And next thing you know, I was unemployed. 11 months. And I realized that was it. That was the final straw for me. I did get my job back. But during those 11 months, one of my friends opened his gym up to me and said, come, you can pay me a small fee per person. Get your feet wet. And I started training people. That's all I knew. The only thing I knew was how to be an athlete and how to work out. But then that led me to where I am today.
So we're talking about, when we talk about holistic wellness, now my outfit is called Present Moment Holistic Wellness. We always talk about people about being in the present, living life right now. And so when we talk about this mind, body, spirit aspect of this, we can't leave any of it out. How do you incorporate that into your personal training regimen?
It's all connected. The energy, we are walking balls of energy. The energy that we exude, positive or negative, directly correlates to our lifestyle and the quality of life that we live. I've been thankful that I've been able to work out my entire adult life, my entire adult career. So much so that I shaped it and turned it into my lifestyle now and my career. But when you look at all three components, you can't have one without the other. If you have a poor attitude, poor mindset, you're never going to accomplish anything physical, right? You might look better, but are you actually going to feel better? But then if you have the negative thoughts, are you going to feel better? You might look better, but then it's a downward spiral. But if you're not fulfilled inside spiritually, you have nothing.
So what are you looking for in a client in order for you to take them on?
It depends. I've taken on a variety of clients, male and female, but most recently I've been focusing on the male demographic. Over this past year of my life, I had everything uprooted. I was divorced, out of my house, lost my dogs, and again, I refused to stay down. I didn't let the woe is me mentality bother me. And I had been training clients for years at this point. But then I realized I hired a team of guys, such a good team of coaches, and more experienced than me, guys in the program, sober individuals that have helped so many other people. And we narrowed my niche down to where it was that discarded man, the guy that felt worthless, like hopeless. They had nothing else to go for. So I want to inspire other people through my actions. I want to show them that there is life beyond, that there is hope, that no matter how bad you feel, there is always something positive to look forward to.
Okay, well, you've heard the saying that you can lead a horse to water and you can't make them drink. However, you can make them thirsty, Shane.
Yes.
So how do you make them thirsty?
Oh, I share my story, kind of much like I'm doing with you right now. I went on public record to speak about my childhood for the first time. I went on public record to speak about my divorce and my separation. My wife and I are still, or ex-wife, we're on good terms still. People grow apart, and that's okay. But a lot of people think of divorce and they think negative. Well, for both of us, we just had a conversation a few days ago. We are both doing better than we were in the relationship. And that's what you have to take from it. But you have to provide testimony. If there's no proof, how can someone trust you? How can someone believe that you can help them genuinely? Well, risks, right? Not every one of those paid out. I lost my job, right? I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I've had injuries. I broke my neck, right? Just this year alone, I got divorced. The biggest heartache of my life, right? A woman that I committed my life to under God. And here I am reliving my dreams. Then I tore my bicep a few weeks before a fight. And again, it shut me down. But I used that. I could have looked up and I could have said, why, God? Why would you do this to me when I'm already suffering and I'm already struggling? But I didn't. I looked up and said, why, God? Because I knew there was a lesson to be learned here. And I knew I had to use this as motivation to further myself. I still took the fight, even with one arm. But that wasn't the bigger picture here. The bigger picture, again, was the test. I'm going to put a roadblock around you. You cannot go straight. You can go left or you can go right. I'm going to go right. I don't want to go left. And again, it helped me inspire more people to where I spoke about my trials and my tribulations, and I would receive numerous messages daily through social media.
The message that can interest and hold people, Shane, has to have depth and weight.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say, you just don't say, do it because I said so.
Right.
You have to say, as evidenced by, and give the evidences. Oh, hi, Jim Ellermeyer back again from Fishing Without Bait. And as we offer and express transparency, this is a shameless plug for a book that we are selling. This is a 365-day calendar where we have a Zen type of picture to draw with a caption, and then we ask some thoughtful questions that people can answer, such as, what are your general thoughts about the quote? What is the morning thought in the morning? What is your evening thought? And what will you do tomorrow to spread kindness? Okay? And the beauty of this is that it's not numbered. You can pick any page out. It's not numbered. You can pick any day out and pick any quote out you want, or not. So what we're doing, we're asking people to use this as some type of a mindfulness activity to start their day. When we start our day, not trying to race through the day or with anxiety, but rather maybe some introspective self-talk, some internal validation. And what we're doing here is this. Also, what we'd like to do, we're going to be offering some Patreon material, maybe some behind the themes things, or some of the podcasts that we've done where we take a deeper dive. And we'd like to get your thoughts on that. What would you like to see? Are there any podcasts that we've done where you would like us to do a deeper dive? So you can please contact the show, and we'd be glad to. We'd be glad to explore that. And as always, we're looking for stories of recovery. Everybody's in recovery from something. We like to know how you got here from there. And please be good to yourself. And yes, this is a shameless plug. And we often talk about everything being a matter of perspective, okay?
Ooh.
And I know that I've, again, given this talk before, and people, if you're tired of hearing this talk, let us know about it, but I'm not going to stop it anyway. So the idea is when I go to rehabs, I usually line up about 4 or 5 people in front of me, and I'll say to them, okay, pretend I'm a smiling horse. And they humor me. And they say, okay, so you're a smiling horse.
Okay.
And then I have them go, and then I have them walk around behind me, and I bend over. And I say, now what do you see? And then I hear some very colorful comments, Shane.
Yeah.
However, but then I ask them the question. I say, who moved?
Oh.
And they say, and then they catch on, they say, we did.
Yes.
I said, did the horse move? No. And I tell them, I say, people go through their lives trying to manipulate people, place, things, and situations as exactly the way that they want them to be. The horse doesn't move, only you can.
Wow.
And that's a choice.
I'm glad you shared that.
And that's why we try to help people understand they have, no matter what the situation, they have a choice.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
And sometimes we just have to point out blind spots to people, Shane.
Sometimes it might not be that first pond of water that you lead them to. It might be the second or third or the fourth. But
yeah,
if they're thirsty enough, they'll eventually drink the water.
Well, in the 12-step world, Shane, we say that we plant seeds for trees that we may never be able to climb. We plant seeds with people, and we may never see them again. But you know what? That particular word, or that effort, or that particular word of encouragement might plant fruit and grow a tree a year from now, and we're not around. But it's our purpose. In the 12-step world, it's our purpose to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and to our fellows. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
And it sounds like you're on the same type of mission.
I am. And little did I know that God was preparing me for this.
So say a little bit more about this faith structure of yours, or a lot more of it, please.
So I don't mind sharing it all because I love speaking about this because God spoke to me. He grabbed me. And again, what was arguably the toughest time of my life, shortly before my divorce went through, I opened up my own gym. And I had the worst business partners. So my wife at the time asked, why are you still doing this? And she was like, would you like to be married to these guys for the next 2 years or have dated them for a few months? And that really spoke to me because, again, that was what I was doing. I saw the bigger picture and where this could go. But those were my roadblocks. So I lost my gym. It went under. Bad business partners, had my divorce. All the while, at the time, I realized I no longer want successful but unscrupulous human beings around me. I wanted genuine, good, positive men around me. God continued to insert so many people unbeknownst to me. These were not guys that were like, hey, I'm going to church. Hey, here's the Bible, want to read it? No. There was probably 10 people in my life that were very, very significant. And I thought I was building something different. I thought I was building like an entrepreneur group. I thought I was building a strong men's circle, people that I could confide in, people that I could talk to, people that understood my outlook on life. And then it was after the divorce happened and my separation. And I have to go get my own house now. I'm all alone. That I realized I wasn't alone. I wasn't alone. This whole time, he's been curating this. Then every one of those men that I brought into me from a business world, I was very entrepreneurial. I realized they were all Christians. And not one of them said a thing to me about Jesus, about God, about Christ. And I was like, I looked around and I was like, this is bigger than me. And that's what led me back into my journey in faith and my journey, my spiritual journey. It was the signs. That was the catalyst, was realizing he knew this was happening. He knew I was going to go through a struggle. He knew that I needed people, positive, strong, male figures in my life to keep me going, that I had someone to talk to. And I was on the couch one day. My uncle calls me out of the blue. He's very spiritual also. One thing I didn't speak about, I actually grew up with him when I was in foster care. He took care of me, my brother, my sister. While my mom was down and out, he looked out for us. And wasn't big church going, but very religious. And he calls me one day. He's like, Shane, it started with, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And I was like, right? Like, we're on the phone. And I had this overwhelming feeling. I started to bawl, right? The tears are streaming down my face. And I was like, yes, I do. Because there were too many coincidences in these past 5 to 6 months of my life that I realized I had absolutely nothing to do with. Now, we always have a choice. And I decided to look. I opened my eyes. I allowed him to speak to me. And I accepted it, and I started going to church weekly. And again, building the men around me, my boxing coach. Just by happenstance, I was at a promo event doing tapings. He was leading a Christian ministry. What are the chances, right? What is the coincidence of this happening? Very slim, right? But God doesn't make mistakes.
There are no coincidences, Shane.
There are none. And that's one thing I've learned this year. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. That's exactly the reason we're here. That's why we're sharing this story together. That's why I'm able to speak freely about my life, because I want to turn my pain into purpose.
We'll be back with our friend Shane in a continuing conversation on the next podcast, and we hope you tune in next Tuesday. And until then, we offer this free prescription that you can fill most anywhere. Fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for another and do a kindness for yourself. Forgive another and forgive yourself. Till all are free, none are free. We're all God's children. Stop the violence in the world. Stop the killing. Be good to yourself. Namaste.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.